let me ask you this then. So we're talking about prosperity preaching. So do you believe that, or can you be wealthy and be a pastor? Or better yet, should you be wealthy and be a pastor?
Buy your wife a Lamborghini and all.
You know, like, because we heard
I read about that recently.
Pastor Gray,
Yeah.
he bought his wife a Lamborghini truck, and that was circulating on the internet. And then there was Creflo Dollar, which, funny enough, I used to go to his church when I lived in New York, World Changes.
Yeah.
And he asked for his congregation
buy him a plane
because he needed money to buy a jet so he can get around to all his events and stuff. So, like, what are your thoughts on, being wealthy as a pastor? Like, should pastors be wealthy?
Coming from, you're asking somebody who's coming from a very, very small church in comparison to larger churches.
Yeah.
I think we have to be, like, just wise in how we look at it, right? If somebody is gaining wealth from the church, actually my friend LeVar mentioned this, is that if you're being paid from your church and the economic standing of your church is so far removed from your people, that is something you actually have to
you gotta check that.
You have to check that. That's not a good look in terms of gospel witness, and that's what it should all come back down to, right? I would say, like, you say, okay, you speak my mind and stuff like that. You say, like, pastors like John Gray and Creflo Dollar, I brace against, because I rub against them a lot. I would not listen to them. I don't view them as healthy spiritual teachers.
Okay.
Right? But I think sometimes that's evidenced in these sorts of requests. Like, because, like, say if you want to give your wife an expensive car, would you buy her a race car? In essence, like what does that look like in terms of you being somebody who carries the message once for all given to the saints? You are supposed to be somebody who represents God,
right?
And be a servant to people. And this is what, like, it's just not prudent. It's not wise, So it's just like, I look at that and I'm like, something about that is not good, because in Scripture it talks about, like, when Paul was talking to Timothy about installing leaders in the church, he was saying to them that some people are there that view godliness as a means of gain, right? And what he says was the greatest gain for the Christian is actually contentment, that whether you have a lot or a little, you're content, because that's been given to you, by God in essence, So,
and if you're a good steward of what you have, then you should be content.
Right. So, like, it's
gotcha.
Yeah. So that was also an issue in the church as well too, where Paul's getting fire from everybody, and then he's saying, well, some of these guys, like, I'm getting fire, and some people are using this as a way to kind of get ahead.
So here's my thoughts. So I think, to your point, if the congregation looks like it's struggling and the pastor's so far removed, he lives on the hill and he's got a mansion, big problem. But I think if you are the pastor who, quit your 9 to 5, went all in, started off with a small church, 25 members, grew it to 10,000 over 10 years, and put everything in, loan, risk, and now you've earned a salary that's, let's say, $250,000 a year or whatever it is from doing books and speaking events and all that.
That's different. Yeah. That's different. Like, I think there is a way to be rich and prudent. Yeah. Right? Like, because there is, like, kind of like there's a boastfulness, like, if it's done in a certain way, like say
like TD Jakes, let's use an example.
TD Jakes, right? Like, there's a way to, I don't know actually how TD Jakes organizes finances. He's one that I don't necessarily listen to as well either, but there's a way to be wise in how you navigate. There's a way to be rich and godly, and that there's a way to be poor and godly, right? Because really, we believe all of our finances, what we do, how we steward them, even the ideas that we have, God allows those things to work those things out, right? So you can be, to answer your question, can you be rich and godly? Yes, you can be, because in Scripture, in Paul's missionary journeys, he was meeting up with people that were rich and were influential and stuff like that, when he's preaching to people who were in Greece and stuff like that, right? But what did they do with their finances? They hosted churches in their homes when church Christians didn't have places to meet. Right. So their focus was on the spreading of the gospel, not necessarily the building of a place. Right. So the message is, for a Christian, the message is everything. It's not necessarily the place is everything. The message is everything.
Right.
Yeah, that's and good. That going forward.